I'm Vijay Balasubramanian from Fresno, California. I'm a pulmonary hypertension pulmonologist.
I'm Leslie Orlovsky, Executive Director of Team Phenomenal Hope.
I'm Lucilla Piccari. I'm a pulmonologist and specialized in pulmonary hypertension, and I work in Hospital del Mar in Barcelona.
I'm Herranz. I'm from Hospital del Mar of Barcelona. I'm a case manager of PH.
I'm Patty George. I'm a PH pulmonologist from Denver, Colorado, and co-founder of Team Phenomenal Hope.
We're going to transition today from Unity Walk into live from Barcelona. So this is exciting. This is our preview show, and I'm excited to talk with you today. And so today's conversation is talking about why we're here at World Symposium on pulmonary hypertension and what does advocacy mean. And so I'm going to start out and talk with Vijay and ask you, can you tell us a little bit about World Symposium and what it is?
So thank you for, first of all, organizing this wonderful day. It's been a spectacular start. I can't congratulate the team that put this together, so thank you so much. So the World Symposium was convened, the World Pulmonary Hypertension Symposium was initially convened in 1973. And then after the Evian meeting in 1998, it's basically become the Olympics of PH. Every 4 to 5 years, we have a Pulmonary Hypertension World Symposium where all the world thought leaders meet and talk about the evolving literature, upcoming drug trials, other developments in pathobiology and other kind of how the disease is progressing, how have we changed the face of this disease over time. Obviously, each and every step of this is very important from a patient perspective because it's changing lives on an everyday basis. Mm-hmm. So it has been a fantastic thing. That is why we are here at the World's PH Symposium at Barcelona, and this time around it's actually happening after a matter of 6 years because of the COVID pandemic in between. Mm-hmm. So it's all the more important. We are absolutely excited for this wonderful event, and thank you.
Oh, fantastic. So that's a great explanation about World Symposium, Vijay. I think it's just so important when we think about people who come together in the community to make a difference in the lives of those living with PH. You know, this is one of those main events. And speaking of coming together and advocating for patients, Leslie, tell us a little bit about Team Phenomenal Hope and why we're here as an organization.
I am so excited that Team Phenomenal Hope is participating in this event through our walk and through these videos. As the only individual that's a non-medical person sitting on this panel, I struggle every day to understand this disease and the breakthroughs that are going on. If I'm doing that, can you imagine what our patients back in the United States are doing? We want to take this information back, everything that's being discussed, and be able to talk about it in layman's terms and share that information with all of the individuals in the United States that have this disease. We're so lucky that we've been funded by Merck to actually be able to do this, and we're so excited. And all of the information will be housed on our Learn, Live, Breathe, ph.org website, which is wonderful for our patients and caregivers. Information if you are newly diagnosed, if you're living with the disease, how to navigate it, manage it, and live well with the disease. And we're also very grateful to have a medical advisory committee that quarterly update this information so that everything on the site is relevant to patients and their family members living with the disease. So thanks, Patty.
Thank you so much. Bringing that over to you, Lucilla. So again, congratulations on the event. I wanted to talk about, you know, when I think of advocacy, you are also advocacy embodied now, having put on an event on the day before the World Symposium. And would you talk a little bit about your inspiration for the event?
Thank you, Patty. Well, first of all, you guys have done an amazing job. Like I try to help from our end, but really you were the engine behind all this, and you put all your energy and resources for this. So thank you very much for bringing this to us in Barcelona. We're really grateful for that. I think it's also a very good opportunity for European patients and especially patients from this country to be at the forefront, finally. And I think that an event like this really is important to put the focus on the patients, because after all, we are doing the symposium, we're discussing, we're trying to find treatments and better management of the disease, and we do all this for the patients. So it's important that the patients are involved at the front of this. And I really think that it's important to talk to them and to be with them and to have them tell us also what is their experience with PH and how can we help them better from their point of view. So I think that this initiative was just phenomenal to be able to bring this at the front.
Fantastic. And I also wanted to congratulate you on your recent publications on the voice of the patient with PH-ILD and also the impact of climate change and environmental pollution in people living with pulmonary vascular disease. Major kudos to you.
Thanks.
And when I read your writing, I really get a sense that in your scientific writing, you are very passionate about your topics and almost using writing as a form of advocacy. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that I don't think that advocacy and science or scientific writing have to be separate. I think we need to gather evidence on a number of topics that we probably don't talk about enough, and we should talk about more, like how do the patients deal with the different treatments and the side effects and their symptoms and problems that are maybe not so much in our minds when we think about the diagnosis and the healthcare system, but it's very much the everyday life of the patients. So I think that we need to gather evidence on that, and we need to put that in the scientific journals so that we can discuss those issues. Climate change and environmental pollutions are very much here in our lives, in everybody's life, and we need to talk about this because they affect the lives of the patients. So this is sort of, we need all of the beautiful discussions that we already have, but we also need to enrich them with other topics that are more relevant to the patients, and we need the patients to participate in this research that we publish as well.
Fantastic. Along the lines of advocacy, now I want to turn to you, Ana. So Ana, you're a nurse here at Hospital del Mar in the pulmonary hypertension unit. And so when I think about you, you are literally, on the ground every day, talking with patients and advocating for their well-being. Can you speak a little bit about that in your day-to-day?
Thank you, Patty. For me, the advocacy of in accompanying the patient in the diagnosis and follow-up of the process, and all this taking into consideration the emotional status and clinical disease. We do standardized and individualized and comprehensive monitoring, covering education and control the signs of symptoms, and supervision and emotional support and care coordination, all to promote the self-care of the patient.
Yeah, it is so much more like having a disease like pulmonary hypertension. It's so much more than here's your disease, here's your medication, we'll see you in 6 months. There is so much more involved, and you're speaking about the well-being and of the patient, and how to promote self-care is such an important component. Yeah, so thank you. With these videos each day, as we move forward, we're going to take different panels of people. We're all attending World Symposium, and we'll teach from topics from World Symposium. And my hope is at the end of each day, we give patients, people living with PH back at home, some action items, like what can you do? What did we learn from today that you can take home and do back at home? And so one of the things I think about when I think about advocacy, and people might be watching this saying, well, how can I get more involved? What can I do to be an advocate? When I talk to my patients, I speak about how can you advocate, first of all, for yourself. When you get up every morning and you put your feet on the ground, what is the one thing you can do to get better each day? And so I think about that in my daily life now. And I think about that when I talk to patients as we all kind of live with how do we get better. The other thing is, of course, people can get involved in support groups and in organizations. In the United States, we have Team Phenomenal Hope, also Pulmonary Hypertension Association, PHOAIR. We have a lot of groups. Your hospitals may have local support groups. Can you speak about the groups here in Spain?
Yes, here in Spain there are 3 major associations for pulmonary hypertension patients. You have the Fundación contra la Hipertensión Pulmonar, the Pulmonary Hypertension Foundation, and then you have Hipertensión Pulmonar España, and then you have the Asociación Nacional contra la Hipertensión Pulmonar. So there's different entities that work together with clinicians and with healthcare workers, and with the support of industry partners as well. Really they try to be present on the territory, because it's important, I think, also that the patients have someone that they can talk to that is close to them in their area, and that they have someone to turn to. And really, Patients Association is so key for that. To find someone that they can reach out to when they don't know exactly what's going on, they have doubts about their disease or their medications, or is this something important or not. So I really think about your programs that you have in Team PH and how they can help the patients in their daily life and their small and bigger doubts.
So even outside of US and Spain, there are organizations really around the world that help patients connect.
In Europe you have ASHTAP, which is the French association, and you have several other associations in Poland, in Eastern Europe, who are all part of the PHA Europe group. And so if anybody goes on the PHA Europe website, they will find the different branches for the different countries. And but then the symposium is a global event, so really you have associations in Australia and Africa, in Japan or China, and so this is really in South America, of course. This is really a global effort, and I think it's important that we try to get together in these occasions and talk to each other, know each other, and collaborate.
Does anyone have anything final that you want to say about advocacy?
To piggyback on what Lucilla said, I think it is interesting, and everybody should know that though the World PH Symposium was started as a scientific symposium by all the world experts, this particular symposium, they're expanding into patient advocacy. They're actually putting patient advocacy at the forefront and talking about patient perspectives right in the opening session of the World Symposium meeting. So, because at the end of the day, all of this is all about the patients. So, can't agree with you more as to how all of this is coming together quite nicely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for talking briefly. As I mentioned, we will be having these daily conversations. This was our preview show, but each day we will bring recaps from World Symposium with different topics and different panelists, and so I'm super excited to bring this to people day by day. We'll send it back to the States, and people, of course, can watch worldwide. And when we've referred to these organizations, I'll work on getting those links into the YouTube, so people can find links to the ones that you've mentioned, and we can provide that for people. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Team Phenomenal Hope, and thank you, World Symposium PH.
Yes.